right, we should be live. Pretty sure, at least. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Neuro-Heretical Wargaming. I'm Brendan, and tonight we will be painting Black, based on your vote. Black Templar, jump on each other's. Hope everyone is having a good night. As of at least right now, it's just me, because no one else is responding to my text. So, it's going to be me and whoever's in the chat tonight. Give me just a second to put this up on the Discord so everyone knows that we are live. And I will get us going. All right. Up so everyone knows. Good evening, Tristan. I see you there. The audio's being weird today. Please let me know. Fiddle with it a little bit to actually make it louder. So I should be louder. Yes, Corgi Cam. We have a pup cam now. He is very, very much enjoying. Good. Okay, I'm glad it sounds good. I fiddled with it a lot after the last stream, so if there are any issues, please let me know and I'll figure those out. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, we officially have him from here on out. Probably mostly be that one because the other one does not like to be in the office, but he'll be sitting there chilling out. I haven't fiddled with the music yet. And we got a pretty simple game project. I'm kind of curious what everyone else is painting. No, Tristan was working on those novitiates. It kind of seems like they're done. No, he's also working on those. I say. Saw the Imperial Priest last night. That no, bad or not? Say one of the nice things about having a Space Marine army and actually painting the Space Marine, they are pretty simple compared to a lot of factions. They're pretty nice little chill faction to actually, for all intents and purposes, just a layer of primer, and just as my base, like a prime of Chaos Black, and then just that. That's just my base layer of paint. You have a very flat look. Lately, I've been moving more towards Black Templar over Grey Seer. So usually I Zenithal a little bit, so this will be interesting experience. See how just straight black goes over. How well the straight black. Source putting together more sisters. Very nice. I am like every day. I am very, very close to buying a just a box of sisters to run as like agents, so I can run them with my various armies. I really like them. I think they're quite. I am moderately concerned that if I do that, eventually I'm going to end up with a full sisters army, and I'm not going to be entirely sure how I got there. I have to be careful. Businesses still working on their bases. I'm assuming for the novitiates. Making flowers and snow. That would be really nice. I've seen a lot of the snow effects honestly work best if they're actually just being put on top of another base. Adding little clumps of snow onto other styles of bases. I'd be painting. Put my sticker back up. Off recently. Yes. Get a buff. Ironically, even though like contrast is supposed to make things like quicker, and it does, like 100% here, absolutely does that. Ironically, going to make these guys take longer. Base all their armor done before I can even start the rest of them. Be a slight downside to this, but need some coming to the other side. I see what you did there, Percosaurus. Getting Hoth in here. I was like, are they spelling that intentionally or not? Oh, the snow. Okay, now all come together. Say that. You know, Perkysaurus, I'm gonna go on a limb and say you're gonna have a whole lot of puns. Just in general, aren't you? You're one of those people, aren't you? I can already tell. I have this sinking feeling we're going to be giving all kinds of, how we say, fun puns tonight. I'm fairly certain you joined us from our left, correct? Admech Vigard. Yep, I believe my assessment of Punkysaurus is correct. It's going to be a long, long series of the worst kind of puns. Just a very, very long series. Moving off camera. Oh, on real quick side note on the off chance, anyone who is here, up and there goes the pup. Anyone who is here who joined us watching Horus Heresy, I want to give you guys a big old thank you for making that our second most successful stream to date. Like buying away. And our first stream that's not World Eaters versus Death Guard to pass 100 view hours. That means I can tell you, I think I can speak for all of us here. Say that actually means a lot to us. It's crazy, like genuinely crazy that one of our videos is getting that amount of views, that amount of views, and that amount of watch time. It's you start something like this, you hope for something, see it actually happen. Almost unbelievable. Like there's no way. You know, at some point, Perkysaurus, I think you want me to read these out loud, and I'm not sure if that would help make the situation worse. I'm fairly certain if I just read these out loud. In fact, I'm fairly certain just acknowledging this is only encouraging you further. It's once you know I'm on to you, aware of your trick. I'll give you this. Bjorn the just landed is Friday. I hopefully, totally for realsy, this go to my local gaming store. Keep not doing that. So I keep saying I'm going to. Like every week something pops up. It's like, now I can't go. I'm doing this or that. This not being. The game store is for Friday night, Tuesdays, and Wednesday night for the stream, for the hobby. I will hobby stream. Let me work through my blog. Frankly, fantastic. I've turned off Steam, so Steam will not start downloading. Could fix any for most of our connection issues. Hopefully here soon. Start looking at non-phone method hobby cam. Did get the new face cam working. Do rather enjoy it. You know what we can do? Aha! We have pup. He thinks. I know this ain't. Actually, now that I think about it, I know why some people will not be joining. I forgot today they are filming a project that I'm not going to go into now, but keep your eyes open this weekend for it. Forgot they were doing. I just realized I. Oh well, question week is usually not the most prominent. veteran. Only doesn't matter because I would head after this. I'm not over. I mean, I'm gonna do anyway because I'm our flesh, so the army, but it feels weird doing. Moved. Oh, yeah. Oh, that sound. And try to monitor it. Every time I like monitor the audio, it makes me talk slower. It's weird. I'm like, it's like my brain hears my own voice, so it drags out the words that thinks I'm still saying it. It's hard to describe, but it's very weird. So, sound goes out or something, let me know. But no, there. For whatever reason, dog cannot sit still to like eat her stuff. She has to like constantly move around. And hopefully I don't make too much background noise, but it is getting warm up in here. Ooh, Boulder says he printed out some Nurglings. Nurglings are fun. I want to get a hold of some. I just haven't like put in the effort yet. I do want to get some to run with my Night Lords at some point. Right now, kind of as far as demons goes, Horn and Slanesh units are kind of the focus, but it's also even not the focus. I think actually, come to think of it, all of my Night Lord units are pretty sure. No, that's not true. I 2 land raiders that are earmarked Night Lords rent. I forget they exist because they're hidden under some stuff on my. Sounds way just like at the bottom on the bottom shelf of something. A bit of decision paralysis about it because a lot of funny ones that I want prominent but can't do all of them. Like you can't have them. A lot of funny ones you can't have necessarily like in the front. Well, I mean, obviously the trick is just to run even more of them. I say that. You can run a lot of nerf. You can run an absolute lot of nerf because they're battle line. Even a base squad is like 3 of them, so that's at least 18. Without even max squad max. 6. They're fun little guys. I really like how sassy GW is. One even shows, if you read it, the Siege of Terra series, the end of the Horse Heresy series, features a very sassy Nurgling. One of the books. I don't remember quite which one it was. I don't think it's the one where the Khan fights Mortarion. Might be, but there's one Death Guard character. It's kind of a side character. And he's constantly having to like talk to his little Nurgling that follows him. He's just like constantly talking to him, and I find it deeply hilarious. Which I found their conversation well over a year, probably closer to 2. Most of the see, the solution is always to print as many as you can take. I say that, but I have some rattlings that guys trying to get printed for me that I think I'm only having to print 10. Hope I like taking on my like the little guys. Plans for them once I can finally we can finally get them well. Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what you meant by towers. It's kind of just like the group of them. They're like on top of each other and shit. Yeah. Yeah. See, you just need 36 of them. That's all. 36 Nurglings. I don't know if it's a solution to many problems, but like, I think it helps. I think 36 Nurglings really greases the. You know what I mean? Just really, really gets in there and just makes everything run buttery smooth. I think it's the correct answer. Oops, Foxwalker. You mean the best list? I know Jeff on the channel, our resident Death Card player, desperately wants to play that, but it's been a matter of just like finding enough Poxwalkers across not just him, but just like everyone on the channel. Or between him and like all of our friends we know, like it's just been an absolute running around trying to find. I think he said, I think some. I say you get Tristan. Make something buttery smooth. And I think I want to say between him and Bird, they like 60 to 80, and more towards 80, but I don't know that for 120 Poxwalkers is something you may well see on the channel someday. I have no idea when. They want to do it, they better move fast. They have at least a year left on that codex. Give or take. Probably a little under a year at this point. They knowing darn well probably never run black tie. I simply do not have enough shooters nor the bandwidth to hit enough shooters. Of course, that being said, 11th edition, they will probably 11th edition, odd number editions, what I've seen, so at least historically, have been like updates to their previous edition rather than full on like fully new ground up things like 10th edition was. You get the idea. So hopefully 11th edition you won't have to actually new codexes or like downloaded indexes. You'll use the based. So that has downsides. The Imperial Guard 9th edition spent the vast majority of the edition playing with their 8th edition codex, only for the edition to end a good like 2-3 months after. I wasn't like just a few months after codex came out. Remember, I bought that one and then never played it. Not once did it get played. Not a good financial decision. You guys are talking. One, I'd like to see that. Two, though, it makes it a little hard for me to keep up. You're very clever, Perkysaurus. You're very clever, and we all know it. We all recognize your cleverness. Scott does own basically every version of Zombicide. So, you know, got me there. And Beholder, just so you know, if you do want to get the Wargames Atlantic zombies and or skeletons, do remember we do have an affiliate link. So if you'd like to support the channel at the same time you do that, click that affiliate link and make the purchase through there. Won't cost you a dime extra and helps us support the channel. So we can keep doing stuff like this and hopefully start doing newer stuff as money comes in. Yes, you know what? That would be awesome. Like I said, Beholder, that would be awesome if you did that. We would love, we would certainly love to see that. And I will fully vouch that if you watched the basically any of the Imperial Guard streams or most of my Night Lord streams, all my little orange dudes, those are all from Wargames Atlantic. They're really good minis. They do have some issues with being like they're not they don't go together as nicely as like GW minis do, but they're really good minis, and for the price point, really hard to beat. Like I got 60, little penal units with guns for like I want to say somewhere around $60. Like two boxes for there's like 30 of them in two boxes. If you play guard or anything that you need just like a lot of minis, War Games Atlantic is one of the places to go for sure. You know, Perkysaurus, there's nothing wrong with buying everything from GW. GW makes fantastic minis. All the vast majority of my minis are GW minis. No one will ever fault you. You just like, I want to stick with just GW. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I'll never fault you for that. I'm also a bit of a collector, so my brain likes knowing that I have the actual GW mini in that regard, even though it really doesn't. 99% of the time does not matter. Oot, oot. Oh, there's two pups on cam. Ah, that's right, Perkysaurus. You're the one that has the Vestroians. I really wish GW would do another made to order for them, because the aftermarket prices, like Vestroians, is one of the few instances where it is actually cheaper to buy directly from GW. Damn, the last time they did a made to order. I know they did made to order the Steel Legion, not super duper long. I think ironically they did made to order Destroyans relatively soon after started the hobby, but I was not anywhere near starting Imperial Guard at that point. Oh, did he take it? Oh, are ya? Yeah. Okay, go lay down. Go lay down. Go to bed. Over there. No, don't wanna. Well, I tried. I know he took your. He bullied you. He took your. He took your Kong. I also know he only does that when you stop eating it. So. No. Oh no, the Black Templar got black paint on his helmet. That is just awful. You know I set up a bed for you. You wouldn't have to be down there on. Learned anything about having pets, it's that you try to do like really nice things. They don't always care. And they will go back to whatever they're used to. You can buy or build nicest thing in the planet for them. They not be particularly grateful. How long did it take to get your order, Ricky? That's I don't recall them being like super duper expensive, so that's a fair number of minis you ordered there. I mean, like they don't, like I said, they don't do made orders very often at all. So if you have one shot, you gotta take it, no doubt about it. After I get this guy done, I'm gonna turn on some nice royalty for you. It's a little awkward having you guys to sit there in the silence while I'm just doing this. That's right. They just did that today, didn't they? Where they just started working, or yeah, they started working on the new factory. I remember them like announcing it. It was definitely happening. Remember anything specific about it actually starting? I really wish, honestly, that they would open a factory here in the States, just because, like, I think the U.S. is one of the few markets that could support its own factory, and before it wasn't really necessary because like, they have three big markets, right? That they like specifically work or like cater to. They've got, I guess, four technically now since decisions were made. Because obviously they have the UK. Obviously they do quite well in the UK, and they have the European market, which those two used to be the same market essentially, or at least the UK was a subdivision of the European market. That's neither here nor there. Um, then they have the US market and the Australian market. The Australian market kind of suffers the most because it is both the furthest away and of those kind of four, the smallest, right? I should say the North American. Anyway, but one of the four, that one's really far away, and I think it's just so small they couldn't justify building a factory there. I feel like the U.S. market is big enough that if you built a factory here, it would do okay. Like it would, if they could at least meet the basic needs, it would do pretty good. Like I think Australia is too small. Europe, maybe. The only thing with Europe is that it would be directly competing with all their UK factories. At that point, even with dealing with like the EU and everything, it's still relatively cheap. Just literally drive trucks across the channel, freighted shipping across the Atlantic. Are you done? You get to be next. Warhammer. That was not even close to Australian accent. I think in Australia and by extension New Zealand, known as whoa, that's a fucking lot of money. It's like they get absolutely hit hard as far as like price as far as prices go. Like even accounting for differences in the Australian dollar versus the pound and everything, pound, American dollar, even in euros. Like even factoring all that in, they get a conversion rate. Even factoring conversion rate, they pay a lot for these minis, and like these minis are not cheap for anyone involved. But boy, howdy, do the Australians and New Zealanders really get it. So I have heard that does lead. Not to get like deep into competitive talks. I'm not that competitive a player, but like to I have heard that does lead to some very interesting metas in Australia and New Zealand. A lot, you can't exactly go out and just buy the best thing, both because one, it's just expensive regardless of who you are, and two, just like expensive, and like you just straight up might not be able to get what's really good. You know what I mean? If you don't already have an extensive collection, you're kind of up a creek. So and creates a very unique and isolated meta. They don't really see elsewhere from what I've heard. I don't know anything in the specifics about it. That's just the developments I've heard about it. Kind of, not quite, but good enough. You had me in the first half, Perkysaurus. I'll be honest with you. I thought, oh, surely this one isn't a pun. I thought you were going to tell us an actual interesting story. But you got me. I hope you're proud of yourself, Perky. I hope you're proud. I hope you're very, very proud. First step. Not gonna lie. Go to your bed. Gotta be here. We're here. Go to your bed. Yeah. Yes, there we go. Oh, that's Augie. Hi, Augie. Can you say hi to everyone? No? No, they're just gonna immediately leave. You camera shy all of a sudden? Never known you to be particularly camera shy. I keep reading them. I don't know why I keep reading his posts every time. He gets me every time. I don't know why I keep reading them, like expecting something's going to be different. Definition of insanity, right? I mean, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's me. That's me with Perkysaurus's messages. Literally every single time. Literally every single time. Oh man, it's already been an hour. Crazy. I think that's one thing that I kind of underestimated about these streams in particular. Like, fast they go, right? Like, this stream is go to about 10 o'clock. It's about 2.5 hours, give or take. And I, like, genuinely underestimate how quickly every one of these streams is going to go. Like, every time. It gets me every time. Actually, speaking of dumb jokes, I discovered a subreddit today called German Humor. It has 0 posts. And I love it. I love little brick joke. Love brick jokes. I said after that guy I was going to. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to do that now, because otherwise I will forget and just not do it at all. You guys are going to have to let me know how it sounds, because I'm going to have my stuff muted. Hello, Wanting Fire. One of our most... Eventually, I'm going to stop just like reading whenever your name comes up, and you're going to have to deal with that. Anyway, today, Wanting Fire, we are painting jump pack intercessors, or my kit bashed ones, more accurate, for my Black Templars, as voted by the fans. We got 37 votes, and these guys actually just barely won out over the Sanctifiers and the Krieg Engineers. Don't let it be said that every single vote doesn't count, because it absolutely does on this channel. I should look at the camera. I'm looking at like my OBS screen that shows me what you guys can see, and when I'm like talking to you, quote unquote. But then I'm just like looking off to the side. The camera's right here. I need to look and talk into the camera more often. I'm just gonna go with some nice calm music. You know, Tristan, I don't think you're wrong. I think it's fair. The real fans do vote for the Navigator. Apparently, there's just not very many real fans because he just never wins. Both did he get? I'm gonna check real quick. Like check the percentage vote, like exactly how many he got. Percentage wise. Hey, I'm a total sucker for Space Marines too. I love me some Space Marines. Case in point, the absolute crap ton of Space Marines I have. You saw our meme where it's like POV, you have a problem. That was my actual collection case. Yeah, Navigator got 16% of the vote out of 37 votes. So if someone wants to math that, I'll tell you how many votes the Navigator got. I know there is a contingent on our Discord that votes for the Navigator almost every single time. Now it's Tristan, I think Jeff and Scott are both in that little contingent. One day, you guys will be lucky. But it is not this day. Promise you. Anyway. Food. First one is called Rain Over Kyoto Station. So let me know how it sounds. Up a little bit. Nice, like background, but not necessarily overpowering. Let me know how that sounds because I can't hear it. If that's too loud or too quiet, I can move around a little. I will also say, I am actually slowly running out of Space Marines to be pretty well caught up on both of my Space Marines. I think for my Black Templars, it's really just these guys. I got quite a few. I take that back. That's not true. I've got 5 of the new Terminators. from the Leviathan box. I've got, I have incursors that I primed. I've got some cursor grenaders, ballistic dreadnought. We have a pup. Everybody, be quiet. You'll spook her. You know, Beholder, your story reminds me of something. So Bird, right? We're on the channel who I just played on. Oh, Arya, why are you leaving? I said it anyway. Anyway, so let me tell you the story about how Scott and I met Bird, and incidentally how I met Scott. Really, you could argue that this day in particular was kind of the genesis for this entire channel. Like, this channel would not have happened in this form were it not for this particular day. We would not be talking right now. Anyway, so a friend and I had gotten into Warhammer kind of towards the end of 2020, and we did a lot of home games, all that fun stuff. We decided, you know, let's go to one of our local stores, because we're lucky to be in a place that has several. Let's go to one of our local stores and see what's up. And, like, play there on, like, with actual terrain and stuff, right? So we go, and while we're there, another couple of people walk in, and they are going to play a game as well. And one's going to play Blood Ravens that he hasn't played before. Another one who's getting back into the game, he's going to play his Tau. Alright, so they're playing. And we kind of get to talking, because we're only, like, 2 groups in there. So we get to talking. I had the Space Marine rulebook at the time, and the Blood Ravens player didn't. So we were helping with rules, we were bouncing around, we were looking at Tau player just gotten like the Imperial Armor book, so you had all the fancy Forge World stuff, so I was looking at that. And at the end of the night, we're like, oh cool, you know, it was cool meeting you guys, you want to exchange numbers, and we can like organize games and stuff. And that was how I met Scott and Bird. Bird was a Blood Ravens player, and Scott was obviously the Tau player. So extra Mindum that same day, because what happened is Scott was, I think, fairly new to town at the time. He walked in and was like, oh yeah, you know, I'm looking to get some games in, I'm trying to getting back into the game, blah blah blah. The guy was like, oh, well, we got this guy over here, he just started, he's got, you know, Blood Ravens if you want to play a game with him in the back room. They're like, cool, and they planned one out. That day, Bird had bought a Predator, right? Predator tank. Not a small model by any stretch of the imagination. Scott told me later that night, right? Like in the middle of the night, he got a text. Bird had assembled, primed, and fully painted that Predator over the course of a single night. Which is a level of dedication I don't think I have ever been able to show to literally anything in my life. And that really set the tone for Bird, because Bird has basically been like that ever since, right? He moves very quickly. If you watched our the first game we did with the new Thousand Suns Codex, I mean the last Thousand Suns game we did, if you watch that, the Sekitar robots, Bird bought those, or like got those and had them painted within like 24 hours. I think in part specifically so he could have it on stream, but also just because he loved the models. Like, that dude paints really fast, but also just like doing insane. Like, he's genuinely a good painter. Like, it's not like he paints fast and it's like, oh well, you know, it's done, but it's not like the best. No, he paints really good. It is absolutely insane how fast this man can get a model painted. Like, the turnaround time that he can pull off when it strikes is genuinely insane. I'll be honest with you, Tristan, it's a diagnosable case of something. I think we can all make some educated guesses. Yeah, Bird really loves to show off his models. If you're not part of the Discord, that's a great place to see him because he does post. He doesn't post them as often as he sends them like to us. A couple times when I'm like, "Hey, Bird, you know, the Discord would probably really like this," but he does love to show off his models, and like I said, their paint are really high quality. It's impressive, especially considering how fast he can turn them around when he wants to. I do also want to do a quick shout out to John too, because like we give John a lot of crap about not that it's, we give him a lot of crap about his games. Not that they're bad or anything, they're not. Just that they're kind of like a variation on the same theme a lot of times. But like that man has also turned like getting a whole bunch of them completed and done into something of it that's frankly also impressive. Just because he used to have a reputation in the group of being like the guy that had trouble getting stuff like painted and done, to now being like almost all of his armies are complete, which is more than the vast majority of us will ever be able to claim. Granted, he also has a tendency to get a lot more armies, but you know, baby steps. Yep. Keep forgetting. I was gonna put a poll real quick. I'm trying to see what days works best for everyone. I have been doing this on Tuesdays, but I also did it on Wednesdays. Kind of like a lot of it's like work schedule dependent, but like this week I actually had the ability to do it on either based on how things came out, and then hopefully here in the future I'll be able to start doing it on either anyway. I do want to do it on a weekday, probably like midweek kind of works for me, just because it's like it's the middle of the week, and I feel like we're all in kind of a funk around that time, and it's not like so soon after the big streams. That's the thing. Because if I don't, I'll forget about it again. Get that made. Boop. Start a poll. I will say Brachiosaurus. That would actually make for a really cool Sisters Army. That's like earlier, if you were here, I mentioned that I was like, oh yeah, I want to get some sisters to run as agents so I can just ally them in armies. Run very like fairly religiously themed armies because Black Templars. They would fit right in with the vast majority of my Imperial armies, but I didn't want to because I'm afraid if I do that, I'm gonna end up just getting an entire Sisters army, at least eventually. So I've been holding off on it. That being said, I have, back when they had an index, I did write up a list for like a mechanized army that I think would be pretty fun. I don't know why. I just love the idea of a mechanized Sisters army. I wanted to theme them after Alarn. I thought that would be pretty sick. That's because I haven't really done a desert kind of color scheme before. So that'd be fairly different. Also, how is the music? Are we liking the music? Music kind of working for everybody? Kind of good. Better what I can. I like to check sometimes. Like I said, I can't hear it because I don't have my headset on. I don't like putting my headset on, to be honest. So if something's like off about it, I would have no idea. So if it ever like stops or anything, please let me know. One thing about the music that YouTube offers, they offer music that you don't necessarily have to attribute, but and music you do, and it's kind of together. If you're like doing like me, and you're just running like a straight from the library, letting it just go through the music, you kind of run into a situation where it's like it wants to, or it might play something that I need to attribute, and that becomes the whole thing. I do like they offer that. Kind of what's funny is once you start using it, you really start to notice like, oh, like on other YouTube channels, like, oh, that's from the YouTube library, because you can have this and blah blah blah. Kind of interesting. It's pretty big though, so you know that doesn't happen very often. I haven't known. 2K of AdMech for 400. That's a really good deal. That's a really, really good deal. I will say, if you're trying to get into AdMech, now is not the worst time, just like secondhand market wise, because this has just like not been their edition. So you don't see them. They don't. You don't see them very often. A lot of people. It's been a buyer's market, let's just say, for the better part of 2 years at this point. Really just like the army theme wise. and are willing to wait out some not so great rules, now is definitely the time. Though I think, as we saw on Sunday, not the worst rules wise either against some armies. Let me tell you, kicked my butt quite early. Like I said, I think a lot of what got me on that one. Struggle with stealth. Yeah, a lot of stealth units, especially the heavier units. And I don't have a lot of high AP weapons. I need to start working on those a little bit. I'll probably start working on my Rogaldorn. So don't be surprised if you see a Rogaldorn up for the next vote for next week, which will be going live tomorrow, by the way. The Wanting Fire says it's something that piqued my interest. Getting starting kit, Ultramarine Tyranid brushes some paint. Looks like a good deal. Yeah, that's the basically kind of their like get started painting kit. From what I understand. Yeah, well, everything I've seen about that's a pretty good deal. I will say, because you've talked about Space Marines a lot, they do have an equivalent one that comes with like 3 Furnace Marines, I think. Ironically, my nephew got that last time he was up here last year. But yeah, it's similar to that, but it's a little more expensive, but not a whole lot more. So like, if you're wanting to at least get an extra few Space Marines out of it, and not just the Tyranid and just one dude, I would recommend looking into that. I do think it's a little more expensive. I think the one that comes with the Tyranid and the is like the cheap. Also, like, don't be afraid. I don't know if you have a local store now. I thought you mentioned you had a local, like, Warhammer store. Don't be afraid to go in there at the beginning of the month and get free miniatures. They do free miniatures every single month. And they only get you, like, 1 or 2 at a time. They don't get you the paints and stuff, so what they kind of get you is you have to pay for that. But you're just kind of like starting out and getting used to getting into like the actual hobbying side of it. A really good place to start. Like absolutely. I think this month is Space Marine. Could be wrong. Fairly certain it is. And if nothing else, that lets you kind of build up a little group. So once you do have the funds, you can start getting all the stuff you need. Once you have everything, you can start painting them. Okay. That's fair enough. I mean, you certainly have my sympathies, because where I grew up, there was absolutely... Oh. Am I back? Peter told me OBS just stopped there for a minute. I apologize. Should be back now. Peter said, but... anyway. What was I saying? I don't know what was picked up. Yeah, my sympathies. I didn't have any like hobby stores around me when I was growing up, like at all. Like everything was well into Oklahoma City, and it was a decent drive, and I had talked my parents into it, and then one, I had to talk them into even going, and two, I had to talk them into like I wanted to actually buy anything. It was usually not the most fruitful endeavor, but the only thing I had was like Hastings. They were kind of a regional variant of Blockbuster. That's what it is. That's most of what we went there for, was like movie rentals and stuff. But they did like have small hobby. It was nice. I have happy memories. Anyways, it led me to literally all of this. His turn. Nickels and dime. That's always kind of the other thing, is like with hobby stores, like I will say Warhammer stores tend to be a little bit better, or not necessarily. Like they're a little more pickier with who's at the front. But like even at official GW stores and really any store for any particular hobby, you always have that risk of like person behind the counter isn't always the best person in the world. Sucks, but that's like anything that discourages you from getting into hobby, regardless of what it is. Like, right, if it's like this, if it's playing golf or like building computers, flying drones, whatever your hobby is, being discouraged by like the people in the hobby is the worst, is the absolute worst. Like, it's one thing to be like, well, the hobby's discouraging, support it. That's entirely reasonable, but like, probably it should never be a result of the people. Fortunately, Warhammer is not immune to that. And store owners are absolutely not immune to that. I think a lot of store owners kind of form their little cliques and don't do much beyond that. I do think there's a significant bunch of like local game store owners that kind of started as a way for their friends to like have a place to go, not realizing that doing that you are running an actual business, and they don't necessarily treat people the best. But that's just how it goes. Like I am happy to finally be in a place that has not just like a Warhammer store and a game store, but having like multiple game stores. There's a lot. The most I've ever seen, like in one town, like, even by bigger town standards, like we have quite a few here, and it's very nice. Well, I don't like this particular store, but I can go to this other store. That's not that bad. It's not uncommon for game stores to sell a lot of different stuff. Like, I think at this point, Warhammer's getting to be very mainstream, where even if to at least have like a shelf. I know one store, they straight up just have like a free floating shelf that's like double-sided. It's like all Warhammer, and that's it. But that's getting to be a pretty normal thing, I feel like. We're just starting to see it in other places. It's pretty normal for sort of sell Warhammer on top of like Magic and D&D stuff, because the Venn diagram of people that like this stuff is pretty close to a circle. Like, I'm moderately weird in our little group for not playing Magic and really not wanting to play Magic. The most I will do is like Lorcana with my wife. That's fun. I enjoy that, but I do not enjoy. Not a big fan of Magic in general. That's not weird. That sounds maybe sound like that's not the first place, but just like the game Magic, I'm not really a fan. I tried to get into it, right? Like I've been a nerd forever, so I was like, you know, a lot of people I know play this, they like it, so I'll try it. I did, but I never got into it. So now I just have like a bunch of cards in one of my drawers, I think. Hopefully I'll get lucky and one of them might be worth something someday. I doubt it, but you know, maybe. I do feel like there has been something of an increase in the number of stores recently. Like, I don't know that for a fact. I feel like because like nerddom is becoming more and more mainstream, it's like we're starting to see an increase in stores. Just down here real quick. I'm gonna need to take a quick break. Stream will stay up. I will keep the music going. I will need to step out real quick. Doing that again where I zoom out a little bit. If I move away, it's hard to see. I want that. In fact, that's the exact opposite of what I want. Yep, Wine and Fire, that's pretty much how I grew up. It was a big deal when we got the game, actually. Ended up working there for a few years before I joined the army and ended up out here, but yeah, it's just like, if I wanted to do anything, it was going to be an hour drive into the city. Like, obviously, before I was able to drive, that wasn't going to happen. Then once I was able to drive, then I needed money to drive out there, and I needed money to buy whatever it is I wanted. So, a lot of time, I feel like it's always kind of an interesting thing about like video games and stuff is that they're not cheap, but like relative for what you get out of them, they kind of are, right? Like you can get a lot of hours out of like Skyrim, Fallout, or whatever. Compared, I mean, you get a lot of hours out of this too. But like I can go home, I can pick up a game, go home, start playing, and be playing it and doing stuff immediately. You know, within hours, not even hours, within minutes of getting home. As compared to like this, where it's gonna take me a few hours before I even get to the table. I think it was in the Stillmania video she kind of talked about. A Stillmania video I watched talked about how really stuff like this is how we spend a lot of our time. She called it the majority, and I don't think that's strictly true. I think that heavily depends on who you are. But like this does take absolutely significant chunk of time we engage with this hobby. We'll be doing stuff like this. Now, I'm in a fairly good spot, or at least I was, ironically, before starting the channel. I was in a fairly good spot where I was able to play pretty often, right? I feel like I spent more time than, at least as much time playing as I did like paint. Like here's the thing, like I would, before we started doing the hobby stream, I could easily go 2-3 weeks without paint. But I was playing practically every week. So for me, it's like I don't think I was spending most of my time. Even if I was hobbying, it's not like I was doing super. One, I was doing it rarely, and two, I wasn't doing it like session. Like a little off on that one. I think that depends so much on the hobbyist that. But it's one of the things I think is kind of neat about this hobby is there's a lot of different ways to engage with it. For the vast majority of the time I was a 40k fan, I wasn't part of the miniatures at all. Like I've been a fan of 40k since like 2009, 2010, 15 years at this point. I've only gotten into miniatures in the last 4 or 5. Exactly when. Probably closer to 4. But it's something I've always enjoyed and something I've always engaged with regardless. That's kind of the cool thing. It's like there's so many different ways to engage with both this game, like this franchise. I think it's awesome. And that goes true for a lot of other like games. A lot of like you had people that are just pure artists, you had the people that are just pure gamers, and all kinds of stuff. I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's why I think it depends so much. That's like one of the few things I disagreed with that video. I think I posted in a chat, so I was trying to Tristan. I think he said he watched it. I really like that video overall, but I think that was one of the fewest searches. I was like, I don't think that's true, or I think that's so dependent on the individual gamer that it's, or hobbyist, I should say, it's individual hobbyist that it's just super different. I am not that person. I absolutely want to get my stuff like painted and looking good on the table, but I'm going to run it as soon as it is put together. If it is together, it's going to be on the table at some point, I promise you. Like, usually that's half the reason I bought it. It's like, oh, this is going to be cool on the table. I really like what this does, blah, blah, blah. Be that for competitive reasons or for just like, oh, it's that cool ability. See my action squad for my Space Cops. I do want to give a lot of what she outlaid there for the Stillmania stuff. I do want to give that a try, and I will probably attempt that when I finally get in the old world. I think that's a good way to do it. It's like, all right, here's 1,000 points. Here's this regiment of my army. This is what ties them together. These, you know, they look all the same. They do have X, Y, or Z for uniforms, blah, blah, blah. I think that would be fun. And I was also going to do that a bit for my orcs as well. have been slowly kind of working on to put them together. I think once I get through a good chunk of this backlog is when I start. Actually, here pretty soon, I'm probably going to. A lot of it's just trying to settle on a scheme. I bought them 100% without anything resembling a scheme in mind. So now I've got like probably some 500 points at orcs and absolutely zero. Like your enthusiasm, wanting fire. I like your... Will say real quick, one of the hard parts about painting with a white base like this is sometimes I can't tell if I'm actually looking at a spot I missed or if that is a reflection of my light bulb. Because it looks the same. Yeah, that's part of the reason why I wanted to do these hobby streams, is it gives me that extra motivation to kind of get in and get this stuff done. Like, I'm not a perfectionist or anything, I'm just lazy, right? I just don't want to paint very often. It's not my favorite part of the hobby. For me, it's mostly the game, followed by... I actually like putting the mains together a fair bit. So I do have trouble finding motivation to do that sometimes. I do like kit bashing and seeing how I can bring a mini to life. Even if I'm not like kit bashing, even if I'm just building from the straight kit. Okay, well, how can I pose this? How can I add this little thing here that tells like a little bit of a story, one look, stuff like that. And these streams have been absolutely helpful, helping me get through that backlog. And the other thing was just like, you can ask Tristan, it was pretty normal for like him, Scott, and I to just be doing this once a week or so. And so it's just like, well, I'm going to be doing this anyway. I need to do it for the mix of the channel and just to get through my backlog. That's like, well, why not just stream it and like have you guys hop in too? No reason to not to. Really. I will say, as I did say that, you know, I'm not the most, like, painting isn't necessarily my favorite part of the hobby. It does have its enjoyment, right? It's nice to sit there and just like see it slowly come to life in the paint job, or like try something new and watch it succeed as far as like techniques go. I guess the best way to put it is that it's not my most favorite. I don't hugely love it, but a lot of it also just comes down to motivation, where I don't necessarily want to do it. I will freely admit that a good chunk of why I don't like it. No small amount of effort. It's worth it at the end. It's always worth it. It's just like, I gotta sit down and actually. It forces my brain to focus in a way that my brain does not seem to care for. Weird when these are like done. Maybe not done isn't always the right, but like when I had we got like the armor and stuff done, It catches me almost by surprise sometimes. Like, oh wait, yeah, I'm actually partially done. This never happened. I'm gonna take a quick little 5, and I will be right back. So, music should stay on. I'll try and keep that on. But I promise I'll be back in about 5 minutes. All right, I return. Right side of everything. Real. Alright, do you want to cooperate now? Here we go. Sorry, had to fiddle with a little bit there. Not why. Really neat. Really need to dedicate. The issue a lot. That'll do for now. Thing is a go. Seems like it. Perfect. Earlier I mentioned the reason why it was just me and I is a special project. The special project just now finished. Pretty sure they've been going since 5 o'clock or so. It had a fairly long day ahead. Hopefully we'll have something to show for it here pretty. Excuse me. Oh yeah. No bark. Gonna startle all the painters. Don't handle loud noises very well, trust me. Thank you. Now I'll turn the. Ooh. Hello, world. Alright, yeah, don't be a grump. Go to your room. Go to your room. Go to bed. Go to bed. No, you're not going to? You're just gonna stare at me? It's fine. Traveler, the RPG, I presume. Just to be a little clear, so that's a sci-fi one with. Is that the one where you can die in character creation? I think that's Traveler. I think that's the one, or hypothetically, as you're creating the character, they can just die before they ever see the tabletop. I don't remember. Definitely seen some videos about Traveler. Seth Orikowski. How you say it? Watch his videos. But he did a few Traveler videos back in the day. I remember enjoying them. I read much about them. So this one doesn't have a power pack, but there's a specific reason for that. Let me get this leg done real quick. So the reason he doesn't have it is I have it separately here, and it's because I want to put a cloak on him. So to make painting all of this easier, because you can get a rough idea, like the cloak will cover a lot of him. So to make getting to these areas easier, I want to put that on last. So that's why he doesn't have a jump pack or a power pack on just yet. I will throw it on here once I get the cloak done. I want to get the front pack. So that's the other reason. The cloak itself can be hard to paint if it's on. So for squad leaders like this that have that bit, I tend to leave it off. And really, Tristan, I shouldn't be remotely surprised that you like Seth's channel. In fact, that's probably the least surprising thing I've heard all day. Actually, real quick, Tristan talking about Seth Orikowski. I know it, so now that I know that you like his stuff too, I need you to make sure that Scott watches the Bone Saw video. Because I know I sent it to him, but I don't think he watched it, and I feel like he needs to watch the Bone Saw. Mostly because I reference it all the time, and he never fully knows what I'm talking about. I mean, he knows that the Spider-Man scene. He doesn't know the talking sword. Yeah, the sword. the talking sword. Bonesaw is ready. Bonesaw. That one. Because I haven't watched his videos a whole lot recently. So I'm a little out of date on them, but like, yeah, the Bonesaw, the For Thor, those are pretty big one to me. Both of those were funny. I really like those ones. I really do like his like kind of sort of in character reviews of different like RPG modules. Those are always fun. Being character. Not subscribe it. It's kind of in character. He does like use the characters, but he also just like walks through his party did. Any particular module? It's just fun. It's just a fun way to like tell those stories. I feel like it's a very creative way to do it. I feel like a lot of times people just talking about it. And that's like just talking about D&D. One doesn't really get the essence of like D&D or role-playing games in general. Two, just kind of boring to hear because everyone has good RPG stories. Everybody has stories about their characters being cool, but like they're never as good to other people as they are to you, fortunately. So much context. You need to get a lot of RPG. Oh, cool! You're running some Pathfinder games. Second edition, I presume. First edition is really where I cut my, mostly where I cut my teeth. Like we played a little bit of 0.5, but then I found the OSR for Pathfinder, and it was like, oh, well, this is all free. Made it very easy to play it. Very easy to play and run it. Mostly run it for me, because I DM a lot and those sort of things, but I liked first edition kind of really. It's fun. It just had a lot of bloat towards the end. That was my main issue with it. So it was just like, man, that is just a lot to keep up with. And at the time, I was a teenager, and I had one player who really liked to change his characters a lot. Like, I can't keep up with what you're doing. There's so many potential combos and stuff that's like, okay, I'm overwhelmed playing this. I don't. Stuff like for me when 5e came out, that was such a breath of fresh air. It was so simple, and it was nice. But I have heard good things about 2e. Remaster, you say? Did they do like a re-release of the first edition? The truest form of platform. That's kind of the fun thing about first edition is like that was true even if you didn't change the character. Because there were like like you had your normal subclasses, but then there were like archetypes you could put onto it. And if two archetypes didn't change the same ability, you could do two archetypes instead of just one. And it was like, oh my god, this is so much stuff. Like they were just it was a lot of potential combinations. It was good. Like, don't get me wrong. Character creator with a game attached. I 100% agree with that assessment. And like it wasn't a bad game. I will say that. It definitely refined 3.5 in ways that I liked. So much. Paizo just, I don't know if I think they've gotten better about it from what I've heard, but like they had such a bad habit of just releasing more and more content all the time, and it's like, this is a lot to keep track of. This is a lot, even for someone who's dedicated. Have a Dropbox somewhere with just with just like probably over 40, and that's not even all of the books they released. Which, to be somewhat fair, that's just how the life cycle of an RPG, right? Over time, you're inevitably going to get more and more stuff because that they have to keep. They can't just release like a core game system or touch it again. Not if they want to stay in business. These guys aren't. Just gonna use Flesh Terror's red. It's okay, we're live and learn. Live. I will say, no one asked, but yeah, I'm getting rather excited for the new one. Because I didn't. That the way. Be done. Back. I did like when we ran Shadow Dark. Just an hour for one. Actually, that's the first time I played an RPG as a player in a long, probably at least 5 or 6 years. Probably closer to 6. Probably closer to 5, actually. I say it out loud. But still, it was really nice to sit down, and Shadow Dark straightforward enough that it's not. It's pretty easy to get. It was easy to get into. The best. It's always kind of interesting to me that, like, so RPGs and miniature war games share a common ancestor, right? They both, I mean, tabletop RPGs spawned off miniature wargaming. Like, quite literally, the first, edition of D&D was built off of a miniature wargame they had made. But it's interesting to me because when it comes to like different editions of the game, right? Even though people will always have, both sides will always have like their detractors, their fans, like stuff like that, right? I think it's interesting that like RPG fans, it's not uncommon for people to be like, well, we're not gonna change the new edition, or we're not gonna try a different game. Like, they're pretty, like, it's not uncommon for people to like maintain what they do, right? Like, I'm sure there are second edition D&D games still going on that have been going on since the 90s. I know of at least one game that's been going on for like something like 30 years or something. There might have been close to 20, but you contrast that with like tabletop with like miniature war games, and it's like, well, once the new edition comes out, you're kind of up a creek. There's really not a community to play older editions in the same way. I think part of that is the buy-in necessary. Like, if I wanted to play, second edition 40k, I'd have to buy a whole bunch of new stuff if I wanted to have like a proper army. And like just the prep time alone takes forever. It's not like an RPG where I can just build a character, have him up. It's like, you know, if you prefer 9th edition, 40k for whatever reason, who are you gonna find? Knowing all of this that you guys are just talking about Pathfinder. Observation I thought of that I wanted to get out there into the world. We'll kind of agree with Tristan on version 1 of Pathfinder. It was not easy on the DM at all, but I have absolutely no idea on version 2. Version 2 is like more straightforward, which I would kind of believe it. They were pretty open that was part of the plan, was to have it on, was to have it be more straightforward, a bit more streamlined. Which I do like that's been kind of the way of RPGs recently. I think that's kind of the best way, because it's easy, makes it a lot easier to get in new players, less, and it just makes it easier on older players too. Like, it's nice. But that's the current, like, I'm sure we will see eventually modern equivalent of GURPS. We're like, well, what if we made it more complicated? And that will find its popularity for a while. It's really what people want more than anything. They just want something different from whatever they currently. That's just how things work. I'm regretting taking this off. Had this on a toothpick. I primed it. Regretting doing that. Down, kind of try for a minute. Eat some of my ice cream. Did you guys argue about tabletop RPGs? Because now I get to be the one to watch others. Hey, you got the first layer of basing done. Sweet. I'll go paint my ice cream. Okay. Can't promise I won't try to eat the paint water, but I won't get it in my ice cream. Good about that. Right. That dries. This is flesh tear is red. I think I'll do their weapon. Here's red. Usually I like doing weapons for them. I was going to just put the guy's helmet. Weapons will be good. I think the plan tonight, I get flesh tears red on there. Probably going to do their belts and their leather stuff, snakebite leather real quick. I think that's probably going to be, but that do have some stuff I need, and it's already like here. I know for at least some of you, it's already late. Rollmaster has used calculus for resolving large scale battles. I hate every part of that sentence, to be honest with you. I don't know anything about Rollmaster, never even heard of it, but like I don't like that. I genuinely don't like what I just heard. on a deep emotional level. As someone who took quote math for oh god, was it math for humanities? I don't think it was that. I think it was even something even like wimpier sounding. Or I've seen flesh terriers on like a pure white. That looks really... Oh yeah, fair. I'm pretty sure it's yeah. I know for a couple of you it's getting pretty late as well. Here it's just getting close to 10, but I have to be up and like getting stuff done in the morning. It's sort of late for me. Super late, but you to go tonight. They talked about games, talked about RPGs. They started talking about calculus. My brain shut off. It was well, United Wargamer. I think I'm doing better about winning than I did on Sunday. So hey. Also, howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to the stream. Also, they're all talking about calculus. So I'm not sure if anyone's winning. To be 100%, generally have the opinion that if you start talking about math, one is winning. Oh, side note. Oh, I don't know. Irish accent for a second. Side note. Warhammer. I did see that, or Scott showed me on your little thing that you added just the little whatchamacallit. Hey, someone voted for Wednesday. Look at that. But it's now Blood Angel. Blood Angels here. Flesh Terrors, right? Anyway, Scott told me that you added our little logo to like the website, showing off the different people that use your program. So that was cool. Cool to see that you're doing that. And obviously, like, it's been really useful. Otherwise, we'd be still sitting there struggling with an Excel sheet. There are no blood angels here. Only the color flesh terror red. I will say, one of the Siege of Terra novels. I think it's the one with Sanguinius on the cover, like 8 or something. Echoes of Eternity. Um, that is like the one time where I was like, oh, I kind of played Blood Angels. That's pretty. That novel is really just a Blood Angels novel hidden as a Siege of Terra novel. A theme, you say? I'm listening. Part of his armor. Oh, cool. That would be awesome. Thank you so much. We'll be looking forward to seeing. As I'm sure you've noticed, Scott is very much our. No, I'm getting there. It's paint everywhere. Scott is very much our technical point guy, so find out about these things significantly later. It's okay by me. We have a pup on the cam. We have pup. We have pup. Aha! Oh, really? You just got walked in. She always does this. Because I acknowledged her existence. Yeah? You wanna leave now? Bye. Fine, Ari, I didn't want you to hang out in here with us anyway. I know, Doggo, and then Doggo just immediately left. Yeah? Come here. She does this. She always does this. This dog, I swear. Acts like she's gonna hang out with you. Just rude. Just so rude. Yes, but I don't think it's that she's camera shy. I think she's the way she is. She does this regardless of cameras. Yeah. She is a corgi, but she is mixed a little bit with Australian Shepherd, but it is the Shepherd's pretty far back for her because what it is a lot of breeders here are starting to breed in the kind of merle blue coat that Shepherds have into corgis. Like her mom had a blue coat, but was otherwise like she's technically a mix. Yeah, we have a two corgis actually. There's her and there's another one. You'll recognize you can tell them apart because the other one has a tail. So he's pretty easy to pick out, but he doesn't like hanging out me in here very much. He will only show up occasionally. If you watched the stream earlier, you would have saw him because they were sharing a lack of a better term. Not really sharing it, but like after one of them after they both finish their Kongs, they will trade them to make sure they can get all the peanut butter out. Yeah, little corgi. He's cute. He's a pain in the butt, but I like him. Corgi's kind of got a dog. It was an easy pick for me. I didn't really. He wasn't that. I'm hoping. What it is, I saw a guy that does effectively just a Corgi Jack Russell mix. Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah, I had a. I say I had. My family had a Jack Russell when I was really young, and they're also high energy dogs. So I can only imagine what that particular mix is like. They're also very ornery dogs too. Which again, so are corgis. I like them. They're pretty like chill, straightforward dogs. They're not very high maintenance or anything. You don't have to worry about them. They handle themselves pretty well once they kind of know what's going on, have a good feel for things. They can be stubborn, trying to teach like how you want them to behave or do certain things. Once they have that, they're good little dogs. Those do. He's gonna learn white leather next. Kinda. I'll be honest with you, one fire, kinda. They're I mean, they really like to climb and sit on the back of like couches and they are we jokingly call them cats all the time. They will sit like both of them like to hop up and sit on the back of the couch, which is adorable, but also like very cat like. I also like to joke they just like to feel tall, so they get on the high places. Yeah, what inspired me to put the pup cam on. Watching, I've been seeing a guy around, seeing him shorts and stuff, where he streams video games, but he has he has a little corgi he has next to him. I was like, oh, that's adorable. I want to start doing that. I started doing the pup cam. Eventually, I want to do. He basically has like off like right next to him. It's like an elevated dog bed they sit on, and I would like to do that eventually. It's a matter of figuring out. And you know what? Fair. Maybe that was just my experience with the Jack Russell Terrier, but they're very high energy. Corgis are kind of a mix. They can be chill from the dogs I've had. They can be pretty chill, but they can also be. I've never had one that was like constantly bouncing off the walls, but they've always been like I mean they're herding dogs, so like they can and they if they want to get going, they will. I think most of the time. And I think a lot of breeders have been breeding them to be more and more chill comparatively. not necessarily needing to feel like they have to have a job to do at all times. It could just be something over time. But I do think they're pretty good, like apartment dogs, because like they're not. It always kills me when people like really big dogs and they live in an apartment, and it's just like, dude, like that dog needs so much more space than you're giving it, and that's not to me. That's not fair to the dog. Uh, I think corgis are a good like kind of mix. They do have that energy. They do like they will be more than happy to go on a long walk with you, but like at the same time, it's not. They don't need a walk. They don't like every dog needs to go out and do walk, but they don't need super long walks every single day, and they don't necessarily want that. Like even both of ours are pretty like if you see them on, you'll see they're both pretty good shape. The vet gives them gold star on weight and sleep. But it's kind of funny. A lot of people, a lot of people like overestimate how big a corgi is supposed to be. I feel like a lot of the ones you see online are hefty lads and lasses. Like every time they see it, like, oh, they're so small. It's like, well, yeah, they're both healthy weight. And mind you, they're a fairly old breed, so it's not like they're hyper standardized. Like they do differ. They can differ a fair bit as far as I've noticed, even like beyond just like weight issues. But I think a lot of people don't realize that pretty small dogs. The whole point was that they're short, so they don't get kicked by cows. So, by cows and sheep, short enough that the leg that they try to kick them that kind of goes over them. And fun fact, they have thicker skulls than average. Ooh, let's be careful and put that over there. Over my. And I'm probably going to call it a night. Not probably, I'm going to call it. Tell myself that. Eat. Firm myself that I'm not going to stay up late. So I'm very tempted because I want to get these guys done. Going leather on. Do one quick little thing with the Black Templar mix, the Black Templar contrast, and make sure I have all their armor pieces right here. A couple other ones we'll touch up. Jump pack for Big Sarge. Nice little bits of leather. Also, by the way, if you're painting leather without snakebite leather, you're missing. I'm telling you, this stuff is magic. I love it. It makes all of this so much easier. I don't have to edge highlight or anything. I can just get it on there. All right, that's fair enough. Like I said, I'll getting done here soon. I know it's late for you, Tristan, for sure. Not going into details, but I'm glad you showed up. Glad we got both got some stuff painted tonight. Look forward to seeing those base novitiates. If you haven't already, you know, feel free to go ahead and drop them in the Discord so everybody can see what you worked on tonight. And that goes for everyone, of course. If you want. You don't got stuff. It would sure be cool if you did. There. I'll switch back to Black Templar. These last couple things, and I'm going to call it a night. Get to play. We're missing you. You, and then finish power pack. Pack. We are gonna be done for the night. We did go a little longer than 19. All free bonus content, guys. Real talking at Wargamer, I feel like, I don't know about you, but like, I'm in my 30s now, and like, I've stayed up till 2, but it's almost always just a work thing. I feel like I'm physically incapable of staying up. Incapable and unwilling. I do it occasionally, not very often. And I'm almost certainly regret it the next day. No matter when I go to bed, I wake up at like 8:30 in the morning at the late. Like that is sleeping in. I don't know why. All right. That's fair. I'm able to get the room super duper cool. Stretch. Up stuff. All right. Already seeing stuff that one of the paints. Well, you know what? Leave it. Yeah, I know when good is good enough. Never let perfect be the enemy of good enough. More specifically, never let one more piece be the enemy of bedtime. So, I think I'm gonna call it a night, guys. It's been awesome having you guys here, as always. Love seeing this, whole bunch of people on here. Always exciting when it happens. Quick little housekeeping things. Sunday, we're trying to work on exactly what we're going to be doing. Hopefully, we'll have a announcement coming here pretty soon. That's exactly what we'll be doing. I think it does seem like most people prefer Tuesday to Wednesday. So, schedule allowing, I'll probably keep doing it on Tuesday since you guys seem to like that. Perfectly fine by me. I think that's most of the housekeeping. In a couple weeks, we'll have Black Templar and Grey Knights Codex will drop. That'll be exciting, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We don't have any plans for that quite yet. We do have some stuff that we'll be announcing here soonish for in a few months, so keep an eye out for that, but that's still pretty soft. I think that's pretty much it. If you haven't already, please be sure to join our Discord. Hop into there. If you want to keep the conversations you got going right now going on in there, great place to do it. Pretty sure everyone's basically got the same name in it. I'll be in it. It's the easiest place to reach me if you need to. Be sure, if you're getting any stuff from War Games Atlantic, check out our affiliate link down in the description below. That will get That helps you support the channel, won't cost you any extra. Otherwise, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in about a week or two. Bye.